ocean, sending big waves into motion. Like how a single word can make a heart open. I might only have one match, but I can make an explosion. This is my fight song. Take back my life song. Prove I'm alright song. My power's turned on. Started right now. I'll be strong. I'll play my fight song. And I don't really care if nobody else believes. 'Cause I still got a lot of fight left in me. No, I've still got a lot of fire left in me.
Good evening to you. It's another Tuesday evening and we are live on Joy 99.7 FM. It's already 7:07 and we are on Geek Squad with your girl, Biritwum. Today we are looking at a very interesting topic. Yes, it is the last day of the month of October and it is still Pink October. For those who are joining us on our Facebook or our YouTube channel, on the pages at Joy 99.7 FM, because you are streaming live right now, you can see that I'm wearing my pink because it is still Pink October, Breast Cancer Awareness Month. And because of that, Geek Squad, we don't want to leave you hanging. No, we want to discuss the technological advancements when it comes to breast cancer, the treatment, and the detection. So we are going to have someone on our show today. I'm going to be introducing her, but not just yet, because we will be looking at some things that are happening in the tech space. But before that, we want you to know that we would like to hear from you when it's time and we ask. You just can reach us on our WhatsApp number 055 1111 997 055 1111 997. Our guest is ready and we'll be getting into the discussion shortly. But before we do that, just take a listen to what is happening in the tech world.
Hello there and welcome to Emerging Tech Trends on Joy Geek Squad. In today's trends, Google advances maps with AI in its major update. Facebook and Instagram launch a paid at free subscription. Apple has launched a new high-end MacBook Pro that comes in black and offers up to 128 gig of RAM. And finally, Xbox is making it easier to play keyboard-focused games on a controller. Now let's get into the details. Google Maps' latest update has injected AI technology to provide an immersive view for routes, allowing users to visually experience their route and see real-time weather updates, stores, and other key points of interest. The feature has been launched in major cities like New York, Barcelona, Los Angeles, and Paris, with more cities to follow. Meta's new paid subscription service removes ads from Facebook and Instagram, addressing the European Union's concern about ad targeting and data collection practices. The service costs around €9.99 per month on the web and €12.99 per month on iOS and Android. Apple has launched upgraded models of the 14-inch and 16-inch MacBook Pro with M3 Pro and M3 Max processors. The new models come in a sleek space black color, replacing space gray, while retaining the same design and port layout as their predecessors. The launch is accompanied by a refreshed iMac and a new entry-level 14-inch MacBook Pro without a touch bar. And finally, Xbox's latest update allows users with the Xbox Elite Wireless Controller Series 2 and the Xbox Adaptive Controller to map controller buttons to keyboard keys, making it easier to play games with limited controller support or a multitude of controls. That's it for this week's Emerging Tech Trends on Joy Geek Squad. Catch you same time next week.
Welcome back. If you're just joining us, this is Geek Squad with your girl, Biritwum. I just want you to know that Geek Squad is brought to you by MTN. MTN, everywhere you go. And before we get into our conversation today, we have something from MTN for you. Are you ready to treat your callers to good tunes while you win incredible rewards? Earn points by purchasing, renewing, copying, or gifting your favorite caller tunes, and you can win amazing prizes based on your total accumulated points. Yes. Build as many points as possible, and you can win tons of data to stay connected to the things you love, or you can win an amazing 10,000 Ghana cedis cash prize to splash on your fave things. It's the perfect way to entertain your callers with music and get rewarded at the same time. Start collecting your caller tunes points today. Visit collartunes.mtn.com.gh. Caller tunes is CALLERTUNEZ, or just dial *1355 hash to get connected on the MTN Caller Tunes service. This promotion lasts till 7th November 2023. Terms and conditions apply. As I indicated earlier, if you're just joining us, this is Geek Squad with your girl Pep Biritwum. Today we are discussing an interesting topic. If you've been joining us for the past weeks, we have been on a certain journey. We've created a lot of awareness when it comes to our cybersecurity space. October is also the month for cybersecurity awareness. But then, if you've been watching your social media handles, there's been a lot of talk about breast cancer awareness. Why? Because October is the month for us to create breast cancer awareness. And this has been happening on different fronts. Even here on Joy FM, we've had doctors sit in, we've had survivors come in, they've mentioned different things, and even how we can go through the screening and different stages when it comes to the awareness creation. Now, today on Geek Squad, we have a radiologist as our guest. And our radiologist as our guest is going to tell us some of the technological advancements when it comes to breast cancer. And we looking at the detection and also the treatment. So at this point, I'm going to go ahead and introduce my guest. I'm super excited because we have a female guest today. And she is in the person of Dr. Afua Amoa-Mensah. Dr. Afua Amoa-Mensah, she is a radiologist. Dr. Afua Amoa-Mensah, good evening to you.
Good evening, and
are,
thank you.
You are welcome to Geek Squad.
Thank you very much.
Today, we are looking at advances in breast cancer, the detection and the treatment. And we are happy to have you here. But just for the fact that you're a female, I just want you to tell us what you do, some details of the work you do, and how it is you being a female in that working space.
Okay, so I'm a radiologist at the Greater Accra Regional Hospital. That is Ridge Hospital, like popularly known as Ridge Hospital. And as a radiologist, I'm more into reading the reports and giving interpretations of images that patients come to the hospital, and then they are asked by their referring doctors to do. For instance, if someone have a particular pathology, and then we do an image, and it can be ultrasound, also it can be a CT scan, it can be an MRI, or we have other things like fluoroscopy. They help us to go into details of the organs in the body to see exactly what is going on over there and to differentiate between different types of diseases. So, for instance, breast, as we are going to talk about breast cancer today, I want to talk about breast, like give an example using the breast. We use ultrasound scans to detect pathologies in the breast. An ultrasound scan uses sound waves to get thin tissues of the breast so that if there is a pathology, it can be seen. And also we can differentiate between a malignant and also a benign pathology. Again, an ultrasound scan can be used to do guided biopsy. And that one, we take a tissue from where a cancer is so that we send it to the lab. That helps us to know the exact type of cancer it is. Again, we have mammogram, breast mammogram. That one uses x-rays to take pictures of the breast, and it helps us to see maybe early signs of breast cancer. And even aside from that, it also tells us the different types of cancers and whether also the particular pathology in the breast is a cystic pathology, that is, it contains fluid or water. I just want to say something that everybody will understand. And it also tell if the pathology is a solid one, again, whether it has features that shows that it's a malignant pathology, and more attention should be paid to it. So basically, that is what I
Okay, that's a mouthful for what you do. And it's interesting that you've already started getting into the details, how technology is even playing a role there in terms of the different types of screening and tests that are done. Now, what I just want to ask you about, how many of you females are there in this field? Because I know you've mentioned a lot, and usually when it comes to technology, there are just few of us that we find ourselves as female playing in that field. So I just want to find out, what has it been like for you being on this journey into finding yourself as a radiologist?
I think it's an interesting place to be. I mean, a very interesting part of medicine where there are a lot of females there do, because we have a lot of time on our side compared to other areas like obstetrics and gynecology. But for a female being in the imaging field, I think it's interesting because we see different kinds of diseases and we are able to help our doctors know what exactly is wrong with the patient and the further management of the patient.
That's interesting. That's very interesting. Like the roles that you are playing and even assisting the doctors when it comes to the detection and then the imaging, as you have mentioned. So, one of the things that I read about is the advancements when it comes to even the imaging now. You mentioned mammogram at a point, the mammography, and how they are able to now use 3D imaging. You mentioned it's a way that you're even able to use that to detect it early when it comes to the detection of breast cancer. So, are you able to just talk into more details about that for us, the mammography?
Okay. So a mammogram uses x-rays, right,
Yeah.
to take a picture of the breast. And when that is done, it shows the breast tissue, the parenchyma, what it is composed of. There are different types of breast parenchyma. We have heterogeneously dense, extremely dense, fatty breast tissue, and also scattered fibroglandular tissue. It's only mammogram that can help us to detect this. And even aside from that, we are able to see into detail, like the ducts in the breast, as well as the other, how the skin is looking like, whether it's thickened or it's not thickened, any the nipple, if it's inverted or not inverted. All these things help us to come to a diagnosis. So basically, that is what the mammogram does. And it's also able to detect lesions, that is breast pathologies that you can't use the hand alone to detect when a clinical breast examination is done.
Okay. Okay. So, just looking at, say, some few years back compared to now, can we say that here in Ghana, we are really moving in terms of advancements when it comes to the detection of breast cancer? Is this something that we can say that we are
Yes,
doing
a
from
lot, yes,
times past
please. A
till
lot
now?
is being done about that. And now there are a lot of ultrasound scans available and also mammogram machines available, unlike in the olden days where I'm sure only clinical breast examinations were being carried out. And now, when you use the mammogram, for instance, to scan a breast, right, you are able to also give an advice to the patient. For instance, patients with extremely dense breast and also heterogeneously dense breast, because the breast is dense, there may be some tiny lesions that may be obscured by the dense breast. And then you give an advice to them that maybe in 6 months' time they can go for an ultrasound scan so that if there is anything that is arising, it will be detected as soon as possible. And this previously wasn't being done when there wasn't any mammograms in Ghana. So this is this shows that there is a lot of improvement
Definitely.
now.
Definitely. There's a lot of improvement. So with some advanced worlds or developed countries, there's the use of AI, and then it comes when it comes to detection of breast cancer and even with the treatments. I just want to find out, Ghana, have we gotten there yet? Like when it comes to the use of computer assisted detection, do we have anything like that being used here in Ghana?
Currently, no, but of course, we radiologists, we are aware that there is something like that in the system, but it doesn't mean that we are not doing our work well. What the computer assisted detection does is that after a radiologist has finished interpreting a mammogram report, those reports are also assigned to the computer, which does a second analysis of the reports that the radiologist provided and then compares the two. Of course, I believe two heads are always better than one. So it's like a second check that the CAD does.
Oh, okay, okay. So currently, it's happening in developed countries, but Ghana, looking at what you have shared with us in times past and now the advancements that we have seen, it's very likely that somewhere near in the future we can also be boasting of this in terms of the technology that we
Very
use
sure.
when it
Yes.
comes to we detecting the breast cancer. All right, I know that people have gone through treatments and everything when it comes to cancer in general, and specifically breast cancer because it is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. One of the things that it is known is that it's expensive. At times you see GoFundMe accounts all over social media because someone has an issue and then it has to be worked on. We just want to, why is it that expensive, like in the first place? And are there ways that when people find themselves in such situations, they can be assisted?
Okay. So what happens is that after a mammogram and also ultrasound as well as a biopsy is done for someone who has breast CA, the person will have to may have to undergo a surgery. Aside the surgery, there is radiation therapy and also chemotherapy. And all these, the drugs that are used are expensive, especially the radiation therapy. The machine is very, very expensive, and also the maintenance of the machine as well. So all these
Okay.
things comes together to make it the treatment of breast cancer expensive. So it's one of the main reasons why it happens like that.
Okay. So the maintenance of the machines and the machines themselves, how expensive they are. So now when it comes to
Exactly.
the usage of it, means you have to pay a lot to use it.
Yes. Then to maintain it, like there should be regular maintenance of the machines as well so that they don't fall at the end of it.
All right. So while we are talking about devices, I just want to find out now. I mean, when someone has high blood pressure, they're able to just purchase the device for checking it. They can just be at home and check it from time to time. When it comes to we being able to detect breast cancer in the first place, I know that there are certain ways that we can do it without necessarily paying. And like my guests who were on the show some time back, they just mentioned that there is screening and there is screening, and I mean people will understand what I'm talking about. But when it comes to the different types of devices that are used, are there types that we can say we can have in our homes and we can use to be checking ourselves from time to time, like we have for checking blood pressure?
Not really. I know of late people have been talking about this ultraviolet light that you can use for detection of breast cancer. But at the end of the day, there is self breast examination. That one is very easy to do. And then ultrasound too is very, very affordable. I wouldn't say cheap, but ultrasound when done can easily detect any pathologies in the breast. So I will rather advise that you go for an ultrasound machine, but it's so expensive. So it's not worth, buying and keeping in your house just for checking of breast cancer.
Okay. So if anything at all, it would be good to just go to the organizations or the hospitals or
Yes, the
facilities and
hospitals,
then do
yeah,
that
or
there.
diagnostic centers, recognized diagnostic centers to do. the
Okay.
ultrasound.
Okay. So we've looked at different types of ways when it comes to the use of technology in the detection of it. Now, we just want to find out this. I know that sometimes there are different tests that are done in different stages before we're able to detect. So for someone during that whole process, about how many tests do we have? Can you just do one and then it is known straight away, or you have to do them in a certain subsequent manner before we can finally say, okay, now we've detected this and then we'd like to go into treatment?
Okay, so what happens is that usually everything starts with uh, maybe the patient goes to the hospital for a clinical breast examination. Then after that, if the patient is more than 40 years, will be asked to do a mammogram. But usually those who are less than 40, they do a breast ultrasound scan. After the ultrasound, is if a pathology is seen and it's malignant, then the patient will be referred to do a mammogram.
Okay, before you
The
go on,
mammogram,
you've mentioned malignant. Can you
yes,
just touch on it a
sorry,
bit? Because when people
okay,
will see it, what does it tell when you see that in your results? I know it has something to do with the cancer, but can you
yes,
just touch on it a
yes,
bit?
please. A malignant lesion means that it's something that is cancerous, so
Okay.
it has to be attended to as soon as possible. So once it's seen as cancerous, a biopsy is done. The biopsy can be done under ultrasound guidance, and when that is done, it's sent to the lab for pathology results to come. And then, depending on the results that comes out, like it will tell the exact type of breast cancer. There are different types of breast cancers. So when the pathology results comes out and it tells what exactly it is, then the necessary treatment and management will start. So that is when the expenses especially comes in. Because if you are going to do radiation therapy, also chemotherapy, plus surgery, mastectomy, all that is expensive. And it means that you wouldn't be able to also work as hard as maybe you used to work before you fell sick. So all that comes into play.
All right. So talking about these radiation therapy, I know that when we are going to take x-rays, normal x-rays, what happens is that the people who would be taking the imaging, they'll usually step out and then allow you to be in there and then the image is taken. I just want to find out, when it comes to technology and the use of these things, do the staff stand any risk when they do this over and over again?
Okay, yes. So what happens is that we always wear something called the lead apron and other things that protect us. We have lead gloves as well. We have lead goggles that we, the technicians, like we wear those things to protect ourselves. And then aside that, we always wear a badge that measures the radiation dose. So every month we take it to the lab for them to read for us so that we know the radiation that we've accumulated. And
Okay.
depending on how severe it is, maybe you may be rotated to a place that's like the machine there gives a less radiation,
Okay,
or
so
you can be taken to an area where you'll be doing only reporting without any, like without being in the radiation to perform procedure. So
okay.
that is how
So
we go about
when you measure a certain amount, then it means you have to
it.
check.
Yes,
There's a rate for everyone, something of the sort. From what I'm getting,
yes,
there's a measure for
yes.
everyone. So depending on where you get to, so this is done monthly.
Not so not a measure for everybody per se, but they have a particular like limits, the upper limits of everything.
Okay,
So it's read on monthly basis. For instance, they send our own to atomic energy for them to read the results for us. Like the badges are, it's called TLD badges. They are collected at the end of the month and taking them. So they bring us what they found, the readings of the recordings that were found on the CLD badges, like according to the names, and then
okay,
we compare to the upper and lower limits that are on their labs. So when this is done, and then it's noticed that a particular person or technician is reaching that limit, we may have to rotate that technician to a place with a lesser dose of radiation to prevent that person from getting the exposure
Okay.
to the radiation.
All right. So this that you have explained to us is for the staff. Now, what about
Yes,
the
please.
patients? Because we know that there are
Um,
some risks.
I'm listening, please. Sorry.
Oh, you can go ahead. I just wanted to find out
Okay,
about the patient side too, and how they are also affected by these radiations. In terms of, we know
radiation.
that the advancement is there
Yes.
to help, but how does it also affect them? The side effects.
So what happens is that for the patients, the radiation dosages that they receive, they are not so high. And even aside from that, in everything, we always weigh the two sides. You need the radiations to kill the cancer cell. So definitely the cancer cells, the radiations will definitely kill them, and that one will help in your survival. And the amount of radiations that the patients will be receiving during the treatment is not something that will cause harm to the patient compared to the cancerous cells that will be killed by those radiation exposures. So definitely we will take that option, as in the cancer cells being killed, rather than the radiations that the patients will receive, because they are not so high. And even aside from that, the technicians are always working there. I mean, they may see about 20 patients in a day, meaning all those patients that are coming, they may have to receive some of their radiations.
Radiations, yeah.
And to the worker, the staff, it's of no benefit. But to the
Patients.
patient, the patient is the one who is rather benefiting. And I mean, the patient just received just once and may come again in the following week or in 3 or 4 weeks' time. So it's not as much as a staff will receive. So it's not so scary.
All right, all right. So for a patient, it is a necessary evil. That's what I'm getting there. It is
Exactly.
needed for
Yeah.
you, so you just have to go through it. So let us just find out this. We've been hearing some people talk about microwaves. The more you use it, you stand the chance of being affected in a way. Is this really the case? The radiations, when it comes to the waves that we use for warming our foods, that people can stand the risk of cancer?
It's not possible for you to get breast cancer, for example, from the use of microwave. The radiations that are, I mean, that the microwave produce is very minute, so it wouldn't cause any cancer. So there
Or
is no cause of alarm here.
there is no
Cause
cause of
for
alarm
alarm
to
here.
you.
Oh,
I know some people have
yes.
been saying it. The more you use microwaves, you stand a chance of cancer. We have a
No,
radiologist
no.
here, Dr. Afua Amoa-Mensah, telling us no, it's not really the case. Please, what about phones? I remember some time back when I'm sleeping, I'll have my phone somewhere by my pillow. My mom will get in the room and she would just not understand why I have the phone there. The radiations from the phone, do we also stand that chance as well when it comes to cancer?
They are all in very minute forms. So the risk is very low.
Okay. But there are still some forms of radiation. So, as much as possible, if it doesn't have to be close to us, especially when we are sleeping, we are better off letting them stay away from us. Right.
Exactly. Yeah.
All right. If you're just joining us, this is Geek Squad with your girl, Pep Biritwum. Today, we have been looking at advances in breast cancer when it comes to detection and also the treatment. We have had as our guest Dr. Afua Amoa-Mensah. She is a radiologist and she has been taking us through different technologies that are used when it comes to the ultrasound, when it comes to mammogram, when it comes to the detection of breast cancer, and then also the treatment of it, the radiotherapy. That all happens and the need for it to be done, even though there are a few side effects of it. We will be playing a game today. Yes, we'll be asking some questions from our guests. But before that, we'll be going on a quick break. When we come back, we want to hear from you. We'll be opening our phone lines. We want to hear from you. Probably you've had any experience with any of these radiations, or you've gone through any of the detection stages or even the treatment stages when it comes to breast cancer. As we are still in October, today being the last day, we would like to hear from you. When the time is up, We are just opening the lines when we come back. You can call us on the line 0302 216 541. 0302 216 541. You can also send us a message on WhatsApp on the number 055 997. 055 997. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back shortly and continue with the show.
Doing. Doing gets you learning. Learning starts you wondering. Wondering triggers thinking. Thinking becomes planning. Planning evolves to trying. After trying, you're succeeding, winning, owning. Now, doing that starts with outdoing your limits. Outdo them all with MTN. So, what are we doing today?
Like a small boat on the ocean, sending big waves into motion. Like how a single word can make a heart open. I might only have one match, but I can make an explosion. And all those things I didn't say were wrecking balls inside my brain. I will scream loud tonight. Can you hear my voice this time? This is my fight song. Take back my life song. Prove I'm alright song. My power's turned on. Starting right now. I'll be strong. I'll play my fight song. And I don't really care if nobody else believes, 'cause I've still got a lot of fight left in me.
Welcome back. If you're just joining us, this is Geek Squad with your girl Biritwum. Today we are looking at advances when it comes to breast cancer in terms of the detection and the treatment. It's the last day of October. I'm excited because it's the last day of October. However, we know that October is the Breast Cancer Awareness Month. So we have a radiologist with us as our guest, Dr. Afua Amoa-Mensah. And so far, she has been sharing the different technologies that are used when it comes to the detection of breast cancer and also the treatment of it. We want to hear from you. Maybe you've gone through chemotherapy or radiotherapy when it comes to breast cancer, or anything at all when it comes to the use of these technologies in helping you, in assisting you in the detection and also in the treatment. We would like to hear from you. Our phone lines are open. You can call us on the number 0302 216 541. 0302 216 541. You can also send us a WhatsApp message on the number 055 997. 055 997. Before we just continue with our conversation, MTN has something for you and I would like to share that. Ready to treat your callers to good tunes while you win incredible rewards? Earn points by purchasing, renewing, copying or gifting your favorite caller tunes, and you can win amazing prizes based on your total accumulated points. Yep. Build as many points as possible and you can win tons of data to stay connected to the things you love, or you can win an amazing 10,000 Ghana cedis cash prize to splash on your fave things. It's the perfect way to entertain your callers with music and get rewarded at the same time. Start collecting your caller tune points today. Visit callertunes.mtn.com.gh. Caller Tunes is CALLERTUNEZ. Or you can just dial *1355# to get started on the MTN Caller Tunes service. This promotion lasts till 7th November 2023. Terms and conditions apply. We would like to hear from you. Our phone lines are opened, and so just give us a call. Share with us your experience when it comes to the use of technology, especially for breast cancer treatment and detection. You can call us on the number 0302 216541. 0302 216 541. You can also send us your WhatsApp message on the number 055 997. 055 So, Dr. Afua Amoa-Mensah, we just want to find out this. You already mentioned to us from the starts finding yourself in this field as a female. And one of the things that we have been talking about for some time now is empowering ladies. So, are you just able to walk us through something? This is not necessarily linked to the advancement in the technology, but if someone wants to find themselves in the field that you are doing, what are some of the courses that they can take becoming a radiologist?
Okay, so the person has to read science first of all in secondary school. And then in the university, I did medicine. So I completed as a medical school, as a medical doctor, sorry.
Yeah.
And after completion of medical school, I did 2 years of housemanship. And then I started radiology at Kolibu Teaching Hospital. So radiology is a 4-year course, where we learn the first year, we learned physics and also anatomy. And then the second year, we went into more of the clinical radiology. And finally, fourth year, I completed. After that, I was posted to the Greater Accra Regional Hospital. So that is where I currently work. But after completion, you get membership and also you do fellowship as well. So that's the process
Okay. So you did your 6 or 7 year program for medicine before you did the 4 years for the radiology.
for radiology. Yes,
Okay. So what I want to find out is that does it have to be the same route for someone who wants to be a radiologist? They'll have to do the medicine before they now come and do
yes,
the radiology.
yes, please. So you have to finish as a medical doctor. So
Okay.
it's a specialization course whereby you specialize as a radiologist.
All right. So for you listening to us, yes, we know this is Geek Squad, and we have been encouraging a lot of you when it comes to technology. Today we have our radiologist here with us as our guest, and she's telling us if it's something that you are interested in doing, then first of all, you have to finish your program as a medical doctor because this is a specialization course. So, as a medical doctor, then you specialize in radiology. This is really interesting. If I may ask, what made you even choose this in the first place as something that you want to do? Because there are different specializations. Why radiology?
Alright. So it's a good question. I had a lot of interest in breast imaging in the first place because my mentor is someone who deals a lot with breast cancer. So right from the word go, when I was doing my house job, I knew I would one day become a radiologist. And also radiology is very interesting. We are a jack of all trades, but master of none because like we do every aspect of medicine. We do pediatrics, like our patients comes from all over. They can be children, adults. We see medical cases. Again, we see pregnancy cases. Aside from that, orthopedics, like when there are fractures, we look at the X-rays and then we report. So we do a part of everything, and it makes it more interesting.
Okay.
And again, I like the fact that we deal more with the images of the patient.
Okay.
I used to worry a lot about my patients when they passed away. I
Okay.
think I was too emotional and would be thinking about them, how the rest of their family members will survive, especially if the person had kids. So I noticed that radiology will help me to overcome all these challenges that I had.
Wow. This is interesting. So your concern for it and also your mentor played a role in you becoming a radiologist. That's good to know. We'll get back to our conversation now. And we just want to find out we've seen the different ways that breast cancer can be detected when it comes to the use of the different technologies. We've spoken about ultrasound, we've spoken about mammogram. What I just want to find out for all of us is that are there specific activities that we can engage in to prevent it? Because we know that there are certain things. We've spoken about the microwaves, spoken about the phones, and how they play a very minimal role in terms of the radiations that they give off. Are there specific things that as people we may need to stay away from, especially when it comes to breast cancer and then the technological advancements that we have now?
Yes. So there are a lot. First of all, I would say that breast cancer doesn't affect only females. Men also get breast cancer.
Yes.
And some of the things, well, in terms of the tech world, not necessarily, because all these machines that produce radiations, they are very minute, so
Okay.
they don't directly affect us. I mean, no research has come out to say that yes, when you use microwaves frequently, you get breast cancer from it. But for instance, if you exercise regularly, also you make sure you eat healthily. Again, you make sure your weight is normal. You are not overweight. You don't smoke, and also excessive alcohol intake. All these things like prevents you from getting breast cancer. So we can live by these things and making sure that everything that our lifestyle, especially, is a worthy one, not just like eating anything at all that you come across. Aside from that, you drink excessively, not checking your weight. I mean, your health is your life, and the way you live is how, I mean, healthy you will be. So we always have to put that into consideration.
We
Thank you.
definitely have to put that into consideration. Our health is our wealth, like someone would say. Now,
Yes,
going into our game now, we are just going to ask this question whether it's a myth or a fact. Whether it's a myth or a fact. So we ask, and then you give us the response whether it's a myth or a fact. So the first one that we have, keeping your phone closer to your body can cause breast cancer. I think this one is a no-brainer. Looking at the conversations that we have had,
yes. So that's the myth.
that's a myth. Okay.
Yeah.
Then warming food often in a microwave can cause breast cancer.
And that one is also a myth.
This is also a myth. All right.
Yes.
The next one, telecom poles closer to our homes can cause breast cancer.
And that one is also a myth.
That is also a myth.
Yes.
Okay. Now, a mammogram can cause breast cancer.
It's a myth.
It's also a myth.
Yes, please.
All right. So, mammography is safe and not as painful as we think. Is this a myth or a fact?
It's a fact.
It's a fact.
Mammogram is not painful. So we should always feel free and do it, especially those who are above 40 years.
All
It
right.
will go a long way to help us to
Okay, so
screen
for
for breast
anyone
cancer.
above 40 years, it's necessary that
Yes,
they take a mammogram just to check their breast tissues. All right. So we've seen that
yes,
this is also not a fact that mammograms are painful. It's very safe, it's not painful. Once you are over the age of 40 years, there is a need for us to just do this and check to be sure that we are safe and there are no causes of concern. We have been on the show today looking at advances in technology when it comes to breast cancer detection and the treatment. This is Geek Squad with your girl Pep Biritwum. At this point, we want to take the quick tech fixes. When we come back, we'll take the final words from our guests and then we'll wrap up for today.
Hello there. My name is Michelle Ajakum, and as usual, I bring you some tech quick fixes and tips here on Geek Squad. Want a quick way to download a YouTube video on your mobile device or laptop? Now here's what you can do. 1. Open YouTube from your mobile or laptop browser. 2. Edit the YouTube URL link by adding SS right before the word YouTube without leaving a space. 3. You will be redirected to savefrom.net. 4. Click on download, and that's it. Voila, here you go. So go ahead, download your YouTube videos and enjoy.
Welcome back. If you're just joining us, this is Geek Squad with your girl Biritwum. Today we have been looking at the technological advancements when it comes to breast cancer, the detection and the treatment. We have had with us our radiologist. She is in the person of Dr. Afua Amoa-Mensah. And so far, we have had an interesting conversation with the different types of screening that is done and also the technology used, the use of x-rays, the use of radio waves in terms of doing the radiotherapy and also the chemotherapy when it comes to the treatment of breast cancer. We have also looked at ways or the different courses that you can even do if you want to find yourself in the position of a doctor who is here. You have to first finish off as a medical doctor and then you can choose to specialize in this field where you can be doing the imaging and be helping women and men, because yes, we know that breast cancer doesn't affect only women. It is very clear. We have already been informed of that. So doc, we just want to get some more details here. I know you have shared with us what we can do or the different things that we need to have in place in terms of lifestyle. So can we be more specific? You mentioned the kind of meals that we eat and all that. Are there specific things? This is one thing that I remember in some time past, someone who got affected with cancer, the person was informed that when they take these fruits, I'm not very sure the English name for it, aluguntugui.
Okay.
Okay, salsam apple. Yes, it can help heal the person. Is this really true? Are there specific plants and fruits that when we take, we can find some kind of improvement for someone who has been affected?
Well, there are some fruits that when you eat, like they have particular nutrients that protect the body's immune system. So those ones we are encouraged to be taking them, but not necessarily that they will prevent you from getting the cancer totally. And even aside from that, like for instance, if you have breast cancer, a family history of breast cancer, and you continue to take these foods without going to the hospital to do any screening, nothing, it wouldn't help. So I will advise that you always have to take pay particular attention to your health. By, for instance, if you know you have a family history of breast cancer or any particular cancer at all, you make sure you go to the hospital at least once in 6 months. Then you
Okay.
go for when you go, you just you can.
All right. I guess maybe having a few hitches with her internet connection. So let's just give her some few seconds. But while we do that, Geek Squad is brought to you by MTN, and MTN has something for you. So are you ready to treat your callers to good tunes while you win incredible rewards? Earn points by purchasing, renewing, copying, or gifting your favorite caller tunes, and you can win amazing prizes based on your total accumulated points. Yep. Build as many points as possible and you can win tons of data to stay connected to the things you love. Or you can win an amazing 10,000 Ghana cedis cash prize to splash on your fave things. It's the perfect way to entertain your callers with music and get rewarded at the same time. Start collecting your caller tunes points today. Visit collartunes.mtn.com.gh. Collar Tunes is CALLERTUNEZ. Or you can just dial *1355 hash to get started on the MTN Collar Tunes service. This promo lasts till 7th November 2023. Terms and conditions apply. Doc, if you're on and you can hear me, It would be good for you to
Yes,
just
please
start
come on.
what you were saying. So we're asking if there are specific foods that we eat. I heard something about that some time past, and that can help you when you are undergoing your treatment with breast cancer.
Yeah, so what I said was the fruits, they give some vitamins and also nutrients that the body needs, but they don't totally prevent the cancer from, I mean, coming into the body. And also, if you have it, it doesn't mean that if you don't undergo maybe surgery and the necessary management, chemotherapy, radiation therapy, and by just eating those foods, you get better. No, it doesn't work like that. So it's always better to go to the hospital to be screened at least once in 6 months or once in a year. When you go, the necessary checks will be done for you, blood tests, as well as maybe technological ones like the use of ultrasound and then mammogram can be used to help.
Okay, so if anyone is undergoing treatment, what's necessary is that they undergo the treatment and then they can be adding the lifestyle change if there are specific
Yes,
foods or foods that they will have to eat to help them, then they
exactly.
do that. So don't just decide that I'm just going to
Yes,
be eating these foods alone without necessarily
yes,
adding
exactly.
the radiotherapy or the chemo when it comes to your treatment of breast cancer. I think this is really has been a good time with you. Are there any final words from you as we wrap up? Are there any final words from you?
Okay, so all I'll say is that early detection of breast cancer saves lives. So we should always remember to go to the hospital as soon as we do a breast self-breast examination, and we find out that there is a lump in the breast, or we see some changes on the skin of our breast. Maybe the nipple, you have a discharge coming out from it. And again, as last year, more than 4,000 women in Ghana were diagnosed of breast cancer, and unfortunately, we lost about 2,000 of them just 2022. So I will advise that as females, especially, we pay particular attention to our breast, and then we do self breast examination every month, 3 to 5 days after our menses. It should be consistent. You just lie down and you divide the breast into four parts. Okay. So I'm going to use my breast as an example. I'm sitting though. So you divide the breast to upper half and lower half. Then you do by sides, the one coming to the left and one towards the chest wall. And after that, you use your hands to press it like I'm doing, like this. Then you go to the other half, you come down, then you go to the fourth part too as well. Apart
Okay.
from that, you also look at the nipple and then you squeeze to check if there is any discharge coming out of that. And then your armpit also, you make sure that you do the same thing to make
Okay.
sure there is no lump in the armpit. That is both armpits. So
Okay.
please, let's all try and do this
All right.
every month, especially the females,
All
though men
right.
also get breast
Thank you
cancer.
very
Thank you
much.
very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Afua
My pleasure.
Amoa-Mensah. It's been a good evening with you. Thank you also for making time with us. God willing, next week we'll be back here.